Alright, 90-day family, buckle up. We have arrived at a moment we have been waiting for, theorizing about, and arguing over for what feels like an eternity. The question that has hung over Jasmine's story like a dark cloud, the mystery that has fueled 1,000 forum threads and Instagram investigations, is finally answered. Tonight, the veil is lifted. The secret is out. Jasmine has revealed the true identity of her daughter's father. Is it Dane? Or is it Matt? After all the tears, the accusations, the bitch-ass slut-ass whore level drama, we have truth. And people, it is a journey to get there. This is not just a simple paternity test result flashed on the screen. This is a saga of trauma, of survival, of a painful past meticulously hidden, now painfully exposed. So, get comfortable, because we are going deep. This is the full, unfiltered story. Let's rewind from the moment Jasmine stepped onto our screens with Gino. Her past was a central character. And the most poignant, mysterious part of that past was her beautiful daughter, who she was fighting to bring to America. But who was the father? Initially, the shadowy figure known as Dane loomed large. He was the ex. The one she spoke of with a mix of resentment and connection. The one whose name made Gino instantly insecure. We saw the receipts, the texts, the calls, the lingering tension. It was easy for Gino, and for us, to assume Dane must be the father. It fit the narrative of a complicated ex still in the picture. But then, enter Matt. A name dropped with less frequency but far more visceral pain. Matt was not just an ex-boyfriend, he was, in Jasmine's own words, her abuser. A man she described as manipulative, violent, who left her with deep psychological scars. She hinted at a dark time, a period of trauma associated with him. The puzzle pieces started to shift. Could the child be a product of that traumatic relationship? The timeline was murky. Jasmine guarded this information like a state secret, and honestly, who could blame her? Paternity wasn't just about gossip for us, for her, it was intertwined with a story of survival. She weaponized the ambiguity, too, using Gino's insecurity about Dane as a tool in their arguments. "You will never be the father of my child," she'd scream, leaving the who dangling, driving Gino, and all of us, mad with speculation. Two men. Two very different stories. One burning question. The pressure cooker had to explode. It happened in the raw, unvarnished setting of the 90-day, the last resort therapy retreat. This is where truths go to die, or finally be resurrected. Surrounded by fellow couples in crisis and under the piercing gaze of the therapists, Jasmine's walls began to crumble. Gino, fueled by a toxic cocktail of jealousy and genuine confusion, pushed. He needed to know. He framed it as a matter of trust for their future. "How can I build a life with you if this fundamental truth is hidden?" The other couples watched, holding their breath. You could see Jasmine retreating internally, the weight of this secret, this trauma, visibly pressing down on her. She wasn't just hiding a name, she was protecting a raw, unhealed wound. Therapist Dr. Honda, with that calm, unnerving precision, gently navigated the minefield. He reframed it, "This isn't about gossip. This is about Jasmine's trauma history. This is about the story she carries about how her daughter came into this world." The secret was no longer just a plot point, it was a symptom of profound pain. This was the breakthrough moment. We stopped being mere spectators to a reality TV mystery and became witnesses to a real human unraveling a core trauma. The question morphed from "Who's the daddy?" to "What happened to Jasmine?" And then, it came. Not in a shouted confession, but in a hushed, tear-soaked moment of surrender. The cameras closed in. Jasmine, her voice trembling, breaking under the weight of years of silence, looked at Gino, at the therapists, and finally gave the mystery a name. Matt. The man she feared. The man who represented the darkest chapter of her life. That was the father of her daughter. The air left the room. Gino's face was a canvas of shifting emotions, shock, pity, a dawning understanding that replaced his jealousy. The pieces crashed into place with a horrifying clarity. Jasmine's extreme reactions, her deep-seated trust issues, her volcanic anger, they weren't just personality traits. They were the scars. Her daughter was a beautiful, living product of a profoundly abusive relationship. Jasmine revealed the heartbreaking context. The relationship with Matt was marked by control and fear. The pregnancy was not a choice made in love or stability, but something that occurred within a dynamic of powerlessness and trauma. She stayed silent for so long because acknowledging Matt as the father meant revisiting that pain, that powerlessness, every single day. It meant tying her greatest joy, her child, to her greatest source of pain. She spoke of the shame, the societal judgment, the fear of being defined by this. She kept the secret to protect herself, to protect her daughter's story, and yes, to protect Gino from the full, horrifying weight of her past. In her mind, Dane was a safer, less messy decoy, an ex-lover, not a monster. The immediate aftermath was heavy. Gino's jealousy towards Dane instantly evaporated, replaced by a stunned, somber empathy. He saw Jasmine, truly saw her, perhaps for the first time, not as a dramatic partner, but as a survivor. He apologized for his petty jealousy. He acknowledged the magnitude of what she'd carried alone. It was arguably Gino's most mature, human moment on the entire franchise. But the revelation didn't exist in a vacuum. This is 90 Day Fiancé. The drama always ripples outward. And the biggest ripple? Dane himself. Oh yes. Dane, the man who spent seasons as the presumed father, the spectral third wheel in Gino and Jasmine's relationship, finally spoke out. And he was furious. In a series of explosive social media posts and interviews, Dane felt completely vindicated and simultaneously thrown under the bus. His message was clear: I told you so. He railed against the narrative that had painted him as the deadbeat dad, the lingering threat. He claimed his reputation was damaged, that he'd been unfairly villainized by association. He insisted he had always known the truth and had tried to tell people, but Jasmine's story was too compelling, too messy for anyone to listen. He accused Jasmine of using him as a scapegoat for years to hide her traumatic truth, manipulating the public perception to suit her needs. And you know what? In the cold light of the revealed truth, his anger is understandable. Imagine being globally known as the shady ex who fathered a child he doesn't see, when in reality, you were just an ex-boyfriend caught in the crossfire of a much darker story. The drama was no longer just between Jasmine and Gino, it was a three-act tragedy with real-world consequences for everyone involved. Now we could stop here. Mystery solved. Dane, exonerated. Matt, confirmed as the biological father. Roll credits. But to do that would be to miss the entire, profound point of this saga. Because this revelation was never just about biology. It was about story. It was about narrative control. It was about trauma survival. Jasmine, in the most primal way, was trying to rewrite a horrific chapter of her life. By letting the world believe Dane was the father, she was creating a different origin story for her daughter, one not born from abuse, but from a more normal, if messy, failed relationship. She was trying to sever the psychic link between her precious child and the man who caused her immense suffering. She was practicing a form of self-preservation so instinctual, so desperate, that it overrode logic and created a web of lies. In her mind, the lie was the protection. It was the armor around the most vulnerable part of her history. This revelation also forces us to look at Jasmine's behavior through a completely different lens. The intense possessiveness, the explosive jealousy, the deep, corrosive fear of betrayal, these aren't just the traits of a crazy girlfriend, as she's often been labeled. They are the classic, heartbreaking hallmarks of complex PTSD from intimate partner abuse. Her radar for threat is hypersensitive because it was forged in an environment of very real, very present danger. Her need to control Gino's every interaction stems from a time when she had no control whatsoever. Understanding that Matt is the father isn't just solving a puzzle, it's the key that unlocks the central tragedy of Jasmine's character. She is a woman fighting the ghosts of her past with every present-day argument. So where does this leave us? The truth is out, but the story is far from over. First, the legal and practical. This revelation must have seismic implications for her daughter's immigration case. Matt's status as the biological father, an abuser, a figure from a traumatic past, adds a complex layer to the legal proceedings. Does he have rights? Has he ever been involved? Was he even listed on the birth certificate? Jasmine's fight to bring her daughter to the U.S. just entered a new, potentially more complicated phase. This is no longer a simple matter of a mother and child. The shadow of the biological father, however absent, now has a name and a history that immigration authorities will scrutinize. Second, the relationship. Can Gino truly handle this? His moment of empathy was powerful, but is it sustainable? Building a life with a trauma survivor requires a level of patience, stability, and selflessness that Gino has, frankly, not consistently demonstrated. He is insecure and emotionally clumsy. Will he now walk on eggshells, treating Jasmine like a fragile victim? Or will he resent the sheer magnitude of the baggage now fully revealed? Their dynamic has been permanently altered. The Dane threat is gone, but in its place is a much heavier, more profound challenge, building trust when the foundational trauma is finally in the open. Third, Jasmine's healing. The secret is out. The armor is off. This, while terrifying, could be the catalyst for genuine recovery. She can no longer hide from the story. She is now forced to integrate it, to separate the beauty of her daughter from the pain of her conception, to seek therapy not for a TV show retreat, but for her own life. The path forward is through the pain, not around it. And finally, the court of public opinion. How do we, the audience, react? Do we vilify Jasmine for the years of deception, for using Dane as a shield? Or do we extend a profound empathy for a survivor who made an impossible choice from a place of deep pain? This is the ultimate 90-day fiancé morality test. It forces us to move beyond the simple love of drama and confront the messy, ugly, painful realities that sometimes generate that drama. These are not just characters, they are people, with pasts that are sometimes horror stories. So there it is. The question that launched 1,000 memes, Dane or Matt, has been answered. But in answering it, the show gave us something infinitely more valuable than mere tabloid fodder. It gave us a masterclass in the psychology of trauma. It showed us how the secrets we keep are often prisons we build for ourselves. It demonstrated that the most dramatic stories are born from the deepest pains. Jasmine's journey is no longer just about a Panamanian woman and a quirky American man with a hat fetish. It is about a woman reclaiming her narrative, syllable by painful syllable. The father is Matt. But the story, that complex, painful, unfolding story of survival, deception, and the desperate hope for a better life, that story is, and always has been, entirely Jasmine's. The mystery is solved. But the healing, that is just beginning. And you know we will be here, 90-day family, every step of the way. Because this is the real, raw, unfiltered human drama we signed up for. Until next time, keep the faith. And remember, the truth always comes out. Even if it takes 90 days, or a few seasons.